So we're watching as Donald Trump's appointees, or excuse me, nominees, whatever you want to call them, are being confirmed left and right. But in my humble opinion, I think the most important confirmation is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So he was confirmed with a vote of 51 to 47. Let's check out what Fox News had to say about it real quick, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it.
We are there. RFK Jr. has been confirmed by the full Senate as the HHS secretary. We're watching on the right side of our screen, and we have moved into that position now with another cabinet member in place for President Trump. And senior correspondent on Congress, Chad Pergram, is with me now. So, Chad, it was just a couple minutes before I saw you last time. This went quickly.
Yeah, and sometimes the waiting is the hardest part here on Capitol Hill, as Tom Petty might say. They sat on 50 votes for quite a while. We didn't think that there was going to be a problem confirming RFK Jr. as the Secretary of Health and Human Services, but Rick Scott, the Republican senator from Florida, he came in and voted yes, and that pushed it over the edge. And immediately after him, Peter Welch, the Democratic senator from Vermont, he came in and voted no. This is a party line vote except for one vote. Mitch McConnell, the former Republican leader from Kentucky, he voted no. He was also the only nay yesterday on the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. I should note what's interesting here with McConnell is that he voted to break a filibuster on both nominees. Sometimes you have a senator say, okay, let's just get to the end of this process. I oppose the issue, I oppose the bill, I oppose the nominee, but I'm not going to hold it up. Sometimes they will try to hold it up as much as they can. Mitch McConnell did not have the votes on his side. We're waiting to see if there's a statement here from Mitch McConnell. I notice when he puts out statements in favor of the nominees that he supports, that he does so in a full-throated fashion. He says, it is my pleasure to support so-and-so, but he had some grievances with Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary. He had grievances with Tulsi Gabbard, and he has, not held back when he has indicated why he voted against them. And remember that Mitch McConnell suffered from polio as a child and has really had some reservations about this nominee because of his past statements on vaccines. Once they get through this confirmation, they are not done yet. Brooke Rollins is up for Agriculture Secretary. She will get bipartisan support. And as you mentioned just a few minutes ago, Kash Patel, who's up for FBI director, his nomination has been moved out of committee, and they will put him on the floor next week. That will be filibustered by the Democrats, and if the Republicans stick together, they'll probably overcome that, probably confirm him toward the end of next week, Harris.
Well, and I point out, you and I said this yesterday about Tulsi Gabbard, no matter how things may have started, they are ending up to be exactly what the president was looking for, with the exception of a very short period for Matt Gaetz, who, fell away from this process. But what's interesting is the vice president, J.D. Vance, has been out of the country for the last couple of these, meaning they didn't need a tie break by the president of the Senate or the vice president, as we know it. And that's fascinating. Right. So there will only be one or two votes.
Yeah, and also consider how rare that is to have a vice president be necessary to break a tie on a nomination for the cabinet. We've had them for lower tier persons, but that had never happened before until it was the confirmation vote of Betsy DeVos in 2017, and Vice President Pence came and broke that tie. Vance had to be here to break the tie. For Pete Hegseth a few weeks ago in late January.
But not the last couple.
They didn't think because otherwise he would have been here. He would have been here.
Absolutely. All right, Chad Pergram on the breaking news on Capitol Hill. We have a new Secretary of HHS. Thank you very much for the reporting.
So, and by the way, shout out to Crypto Dog. He said, covering that YouTube cash grab. Hey, man, appreciate you, broski. Appreciate that love.
$50 boss up. Hey! Stack up and match up.
So, there's one reason why I think RFK Jr. I think he's the best confirmation of our lifetime. And the reason why is because we have a serious problem in this country. It's worse than the overspending. It's worse than the deficit. It's worse than the border crisis. It's worse than the corruption in Washington. We have a problem with our grocery stores being filled with poison. Either, and I'm not even saying it's, either intentionally or unintentionally. We have a major problem. Like I was on Izzy Band's show yesterday, right? And I had went downstairs to try to cook me something, uh something healthy. You feel what I'm saying? Compared to stuff that's really bad, right? So, I recently went, to my annual physical and got a clean bill of health. But I thought about the fact that this is the age bracket. This is the age frame when my father and my uncles and stuff start having issues or whatever. So I said, you know what? Let me be more mindful about what I'm eating or whatever, right? So I tell these knuckleheads over there that I had made me some salmon, some like a little bit of corn, and some freaking carrots. And them niggas said to me, they was like, yo, I hate to tell you, but corn and carrots isn't healthy for you. Now here's the point. This is what I'm talking about right here, right? And keep in mind, the salmon, I steamed it. The vegetables, I steamed it, right? These niggas gonna tell me carrots aren't healthy, corn isn't healthy. I get the corn. I get that, right? But I told them, I said, compared to eating a cheesesteak, it is, right? So if I were to go to YouTube right now, I could show you dozens of videos of people saying that carrots are good for you. I can show you another dozen videos of people saying carrots aren't good for you. And that's the problem. That's part of the problem. I don't know if y'all have noticed this or not, but when it comes to food, there is so much misinformation floating around. You understand what I'm saying? When it comes to food, because you'll have one group of foods and people will say, well, yeah, those are healthy. And then the next time you see information about it, they'll be like, well, no, those aren't healthy. It gets to the point where it's like, what the hell can you eat? What can you eat? Right? Now, I want you to keep in mind a majority of the food that we now eat. Our forebearers ate this food and they did not have the same problems as us, right? They didn't have the same issues that we have. Like they didn't have, all of these chronic illnesses, right? The reason why is because in order for grocery stores and food manufacturers to be able to make more money off of the food, they have to process it in a way where it lasts longer, which involves them putting chemicals in it, which involves them putting things in it that shouldn't be in it. In other words, to make labor less, in other words, less work to produce it, more longevity in the packaging and storing, which equals more profit. Right? So it's not about the food we eat as much as it is about the bullshit that they are putting in the foods that we eat. And that's why, in my opinion, it's funny because whenever they were trying to confirm RFK, all they wanted to talk about was vaccines. It's just like with Doge and Doge talking about the mismanagement of funds. They want to pretend that Elon Musk is after everybody's personal information, but they refuse to address the mismanagement of funds. It's the same thing with RFK. They want to talk about his stance on vaccines, but they refuse to acknowledge the problem we have with our fucking food. They just refuse to acknowledge it. They refuse to even speak about it. Well, check this out. I'm going to pull this video up real quick.
We want to turn now to a series of stories that we are doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries. CBS's Holly Williams goes in depth to show us how some of these ingredients may be linked to cancer and other health-related issues.
From baguettes to focaccia, Europe is famous for its bread, but one ingredient is missing. Potassium bromate is a suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe as well as China and India, but legal in the US, where it's used by some food makers to strengthen dough and estimated to be present in over 100 products.
There is evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may even either initiate or promote the development of tumours.
Professor Eric Millstone is an expert on food additives and told us European countries take a much more cautious approach to food safety.
Can we say for sure that these differences in regulations mean that people in the US have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they'd been eating only in Europe?
I think that is almost certainly the conclusion that we could reach.
It's not just potassium bromate, but many other chemicals and substances that are banned here in Europe over health concerns, but considered safe by the FDA.
Do you think most Americans are aware that they're being exposed to substances that are viewed as dangerous over here?
They probably just think, well, if it's available and it's in the store, then it's probably fine.
Stacey McNamara is from upstate New York, but has been living in London for 10 years. She told us raising children on this side of the Atlantic has opened her eyes to what's allowed in food in the US. She has no plans to ever move back home.
And is food safety a part of that decision?
For sure, yeah. How am I going to protect my children when it's just everywhere?
In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said that when used properly, potassium bromate converts to a harmless substance during food production. But at the same time, Nora, it acknowledged that not all potassium bromate may convert, saying control measures can minimise the amount in food.
And that's what I mean by they full of shit. I guarantee you the people that approve that shit, I guarantee you they don't eat that food. I bet you any amount of money they don't eat that food. Because here's a question you got to ask yourself, right? Here's a question you got to ask yourself. Why is it in the private sector you got regular Americans dropping like flies? Even when it comes to the celebrities, you feel me? Irv Gotti, gone. DMX, gone. I mean, we can go down the list. You feel me? Fat Man Scoop, gone. Maxine Waters still here. Nancy Pelosi still here. Chuck Schumer still here. Mitch McConnell still here. I'm willing to bet you any amount of money they're not eating the same food we're eating. I bet money on that shit. I'm willing to bet money on that shit. Willing to bet money on that shit. How is it all of these Congress people that have their grip on power that, you know, we don't have term limits, but most of these people are damn near 100 years old. Between Pelosi and Maxine Waters, they damn near have 2 centuries. Not a decade. Between Maxine Waters and Pelosi, they have damn near 2 decades of life. Yeah, Clive Davis still here. Quincy Jones gone. It's crazy. It's crazy when you sit back and think about it. That's why, in my humble opinion, RFK was the most important confirmation out of all the confirmations. And look, the reason why I say that is because if he's gonna do half of what he claims he's gonna do, that's better for all of us. That's better for all of us, bruh. Look at this shit.
McDonald's French fries. In the US, there's 11 ingredients. In the UK, there's 3, and salt is optional. An ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane is an ingredient preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, in the US version. This is used as a foaming agent so they don't have to replace the oil that often, making McDonald's more money here in the United States. But they don't do that across the pond. This is Skittles. Notice the long list of ingredient differences. 10 artificial dyes in the US version and titanium dioxide. This ingredient is banned in Europe because it can cause DNA damage. Artificial dyes are made from petroleum, and products containing these dyes require a warning label in Europe that states it may cause adverse effects on activity and detention in children. And they have been linked to cancer and disruptions in the immune system. This on the screen back here is Gatorade. In the US, they use red 40 and caramel color. In Germany, they don't. They use carrot and sweet potatoes to color their Gatorade. And let's look at cereal. General Mills is definitely playing some tricks on us. They launched a new version of Trix just recently in Australia. It has no dyes. They even advertise that when the US version still does. This
Ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous. And what are you supposed to do with that? What are you supposed to do with that? You go to the grocery store thinking you're going to get something nourishing to eat, and you literally eating poison. You're literally eating poison. And it's crazy because we're taught here in America that every other country is evil, but every other country seems to give a damn about what the people are consuming. You know how jacked up that is to know that you're in a country that don't care what the people are eating? And now we know why. Now we know why that guy, you remember the guy from Super Size Me? You remember that guy? You see how bad he, like, bruh, fam. Did you see how bad? Like, what did he do? He ate like McDonald's for like a month straight or something crazy. Yeah, he died last year. He died last year. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yo, shout out to Andre. He said they have color codes for tooth for elites to buy. Mm. Mm. But yo, I'm about to get up out of here, man. Shout out to everybody that came through to support the show. I appreciate the 3 sponsors. Daniel Jackson Reacts, Cali Bills, and my man Donnell. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Yoshi K, said, just bought my seed germination kit this spring. I'm starting my garden. I feel you on that, man. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate everybody that came through, man. Make sure you guys go check out my book, The Angryman Standard, available on Amazon. All you have to do is type The Angryman Standard in the search bar. Yo, we back. Yo, we back. Can y'all see me? Press 1 if y'all can see me. Yo, we back. Okay. Cool. I gotta update this freaking app. But yo, yeah, like I said, man, make sure y'all go check me out. Make sure y'all go check me out on Amazon. All you have to do is look up The Angryman Standard in the search bar and it will come up. If you want to check out the merchandise, all you have to do is go to shopBinoNation.com. Again, that's shopBinoNation.com. But other than that, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Deuces.
Nation!